and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be going over metronome markings, expressions for tempo and tempo changes, expressions for dynamic and dynamic changes, articulation markings, and instrumental and vocal techniques. In doing this, I will explain, give a real music example, demonstrate visually and practically, and explain the importance. To start off, metronome markings. Metronome markings tell you how fast or slow a piece of music should be played. They use a number to show how many beats happen in 1 minute, which is helpful for musicians to keep a steady tempo. The higher number means a faster speed, and a lower number means a slower speed. Metronome markings make sure musicians play at the same tempo, even if they've never heard the piece before. A real music example is Stayin' Alive by the Bee Gees. The song is around 104 BPM. This is a steady tempo and makes it easy to clap or walk to the beat. It's often used to help people practice keeping a consistent tempo because the beat is so clear. Metronome markings are important because they help musicians play together accurately and keep a steady beat. They prevent music from being played too fast or slow and make practice more effective. By using metronome markings, musicians can improve timing, rhythm, and overall confidence when playing. Tempo and tempo change. Tempo describes how fast or slow a piece of music feels overall. Instead of using numbers, tempo is usually shown with Italian words like largo, andante, or allegro. These words give performers a general sense of speed and character rather than an exact count. Tempo markings are written at the start of a piece above the first line of music. For example, allegro tells the musician to play fast and lively, while adagio suggests a slow, calm speed. Unlike metronome markings, tempo markings are flexible and can vary slightly depending on the style and interpretation. Tempo changes tell the performer that the speed of the music should change while the piece is being played. The music gradually speeds up, slows down, or suddenly returns to the original tempo. These changes add expression and shape to the music. Tempo is important because it sets a mood and character of the music. It helps performers understand how the music should feel, not just how fast to play. Tempo changes are written above the music where changes happen. Common terms include accelerando, speed up, retardando, slow down, and a-tempo, return to the original speed. These instructions guide the performer through the changes in a piece, which is important because it adds expression, contrast, and drama to music. They help shape phrases, highlight important moments, and keep music interesting. Without tempo changes, music would feel flat or repetitive. A real music example is Happier Than Ever by Billie Eilish. The song starts with a slow tempo. Halfway through, there's a sudden tempo change to a much faster, aggressive section. This dramatic change highlights the emotional shift in the lyrics. Dynamics and dynamic changes. Dynamics describe how loud or quiet music should be played, but they also strongly affect the emotion, intensity, and character of a piece. Composers use dynamic markings to guide performers so the music is expressive rather than flat. Common dynamic symbols include PP, which means very quiet, P, which is quiet, MF, which is medium loud, and F, which is loud, and FF, which is very loud. These markings don't just control volume, they shape how powerful, gentle, dramatic, or calm the music feels. Once a dynamic marking appears, it usually stays the same until a new marking is written. Dynamics are important because they bring contrast and meaning to music. Playing everything at the same volume would make music sound boring and mechanical. Dynamics help highlight important melodies, support lyrics, and guide the listener's emotions. In ensemble playing, dynamics also help understand balance, knowing when to blend in to the background or stand out. A real music example is Someone Like You. Adele uses soft dynamics for most of her verses. This quiet volume creates an intimate emotional atmosphere. Louder moments feel more powerful because they contrast with the softer sections. Dynamic changes tell the performers that the volume should change during the music, rather than staying the same. These changes can be gradual, such as crescendo, getting louder, or diminuendo, getting quieter, or sudden, such as subito piano, suddenly quiet. Gradual changes often help build tension or release, while sudden changes can surprise the listener or highlight a dramatic moment. Dynamic changes are usually written above or below the stave, where the change begins. Dramatic changes are important because they help give music shape and direction. They help phrases feel natural, guide climaxes, and keep the listener engaged. Without dynamic changes, music would feel stiff and predictable. These changes also help performers communicate emotion more clearly and make performances feel alive and expressive. A real music example is Shallow by Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper. The song starts quietly and gradually gets louder towards the chorus. The crescendo builds emotion and excitement before the big vocal moments. Articulation markings tell musicians how to play individual notes, not how loud or fast they are. They describe the style of the note, whether they should be short, smooth, accented, or separated. Articulation markings affect how notes connect to each other and how clear or expressive the music sounds. Common articulation markings include staccato, short and detached, legato, smooth and connected, and accent, played with emphasis. These markings help performers shape phrases and make music sound more musical rather than robotic. Articulation is important because it changes the character and feel of the music. The same note played with different articulation can sound playful, aggressive, smooth, or sharp. In ensembles, articulation helps musicians play together clearly and match each other's style. Without articulation markings, music would lack detail and sound unclear or messy. A real music example is Happy by Pharrell Williams. The melody and rhythm use a lot of short, detached, staccato-like notes. This articulation makes the song feel bouncy, energetic, and fun. Playing the notes smoothly, instead, would change the groove completely. Instrumental and vocal techniques. Vocal techniques describe how a singer uses their voice to create different sounds, emotions, and effects. These techniques affect tone, expression, and clarity. Singers may change how they breathe, shape notes, or decorate melodies to match the style and mood of music. Common vocal techniques include vibrato, falsetto, mellissima, and breath control. These techniques help singers communicate emotion and make performers more expressive and interesting. Vocal techniques are important because they help singers project their voice and sing accurately and express emotion. They allow singers to change the mood of a song, highlight important lyrics, and match different vocal styles such as pop, musical theatre, or classical music. Without vocal techniques, singing would sound flat and less expressive. A real music example is Happier Than Ever by Billie Eilish, as it begins with soft, breathy vocals and then changes to a strong vocal delivery later in the song. The technique change reflects the emotional shift in the lyrics. Instrumental techniques describe how an instrument is played to produce different sounds and effects. These techniques can change tone, texture, and expression. Different instruments use different techniques. For example, pizzicato on strings, plucking, tremolo, rapid repetition, mute on bass, or glissando, sliding between notes. Musical techniques help make music more colorful and expressive. Instrumental techniques are important because they add variety, texture, and interest to music. They help composers create contrast, support the mood, and make music more engaging. Performers also rely on these techniques to interpret music accurately and bring it to life. A real music example is Another One Bites the Dust. It uses muted, rhythmic bass guitar techniques. This creates a tight, punchy groove. The instrumental technique is key to the song's iconic sound. That's all for today. Thank you for listening, and I hope it helped you.